How's it going, guys? We have a very busy video today. We're going to go over my portfolio over the last week, important things that happened in the market, two stocks that I think are positioned for a huge move, where I see the market heading going into the fall, and much more. So without further ado, let's get into it. So as a little recap, these are my positions in the portfolio. Portfolio last week was at just over 30,000, so it's going to be a 5.5% increase over the past week, which is pretty nice. AMD and Nebius had two nice big moves today, and this is just a little way to see a clearer picture of the breakdown of the portfolio. You see AMD the biggest position at 32%, followed by Celsius, ELF. But yeah, so this is the portfolio. Decent week today, or this week, guys. Carried heavily by AMD and Nebius, but pretty good. So, some important things that happened in the market specifically for my stocks. We had Nebius earnings, whereas the stock was up 40% that day. So this is a very big thing. This is arguably the biggest thing that happened this week. They had a huge revenue beat, up 454% year over year. All you need to know, I have another video discussing it in depth if you want to check that out. But all you need to know is that there was massive momentum in the space and for the stock. Pretty much everything sold out, or is even the future stuff they have sold out. They had even their first like auction um, for some of the NVIDIA GPUs that they have, and it sold out completely, and it was up 15% from the rest of their thing. So basically, Nebius huge demand that outpaces anything they can provide. They're obviously increasing capex, blah blah blah, to help fulfill that demand, but everything was looking great for the company. It's really looking up. Another thing that happened just recently was Bill Ackman's Pershing Square disclosed a new position in Netflix. This was not super recently because they don't disclose it as it happens, but this was in the past couple of months. So that's good to see that someone else likes Netflix stock. And I just wanted to point out Celsius and Rubrik have been making a sneaky move here, up 10% over the past week. So those are two names to watch. So getting into our first stock that is ready to move big. Can you guys guess it? It's going to be AMD. So the stock has been relatively flat for the past 3 months. It did have earnings where it dropped a bit and then rebounded, and now it's kind of just in a almost like a range around 500. The earnings beat wasn't extraordinary. It had a triple beat with raised guidance, but kind of everybody knew that was going to happen. What really would have sent the stock higher, and what I thought was going to happen, was they were going to have blowout earnings and blowout guidance. That would have really raised the stock up a lot. However, that didn't happen. I still think Lisa Su is purposefully sandbagging it. I wasn't expecting her not to sandbag it. I was expecting it to be a little less sandbagged, but I still believe that extraordinary beat and raises are going to come in the following quarters. I think in the next 4 quarters, like 2 or 3 of them should be some really surprising numbers, which would really send up the stock. But bottom line, AMD is still a very good company. This doesn't change anything about the fundamentals. They're going to continue to challenge NVIDIA and Intel in both GPU and the CPU markets. Lisa Su has been doing a great job. She's taken a company from like a stock that was worth around $2, about to go bankrupt, and now it's over 500. So amazing work by her and the rest of the management team. You have Helios Rack going to be coming online soon. The company also has massive margin expansion opportunity. And another thing to note is that I'm up 400% on the stock, and I still think it's one of the best buys in the market. And that really shows you a lot about my conviction in the name. And to further that conviction, if you look, 32% of my portfolio is in the stock. So this is a very important position to me. It's not like I'm just keeping a 4% position and I don't really care where it goes. This is my biggest position, and it really matters to the portfolio where it ends up going over the next couple months, the year, and couple years. But I do think that end of year, my price target is still remaining at around 700, but long term, I think it's at $1,000 to $1,500 stock. And if it doesn't move to my price target soon, I believe that in the long term it will. So I I welcome it to stay at current values because that's just a buying opportunity for people who believe in the company. The second stock that I believe is ready to make a major move is Celsius. Been talking about the stock a lot recently. It's down 53% from recent highs and down almost 70% from the all-time highs. The earnings were not the best, but you have to understand the company is going through an expansion phase. They're expanding their brands. They have a lot of huge growth. They got to spend for advertising. They got to expand to get into new markets. They have to expand. They're still sorting out some distributor disagreements and this and that. So it's not going to be in the peak of its business right now. I'm not saying it's not at the bottom. It's not like a turnaround play, so to say, but it's still in the process of getting to its prime, basically. And if you look at the company, they're doing pretty well, especially for being in that position or in that time of the company. And if you look at their earnings, yeah, you see revenue growth on the Celsius brand was down a bit, revenue growth percentage or whatever, but it's still growing. Okay, everything else looked pretty good. It's not that big of a deal. Their earnings or what's happening now because they're still decent enough, and for what phase they're currently in, I really approve of what the management has been doing. International opportunity for the company remains a huge catalyst. If you look at Alani, Celsius, and Rockstar brands, all of them have huge growth upsides. Alani and Celsius obviously a lot more than Rockstar because Rockstar is kind of dead. That's more of a turnaround play. But then you got the two huge growth engines behind the company. It's not like it's just one drink. They have a bit of diversification. Alani is pretty much the only energy drink that really targets the female demographic, maybe other than Celsius. Celsius targets fitness specifically, kind of, and it's in categories where it's the main brand there and it still has room to grow, and it has other brands like Rockstar where it can take market share. They can always continue to improve margins and take shelf space and continue to steal market share from these other companies. And long term, I think it's $100 stock in the next 3 years, currently being worth less than $30. It's an amazing buy right now. This has one of the best returns on investment. I think this stock is going to go up more than AMD, or around close to what AMD is going to do in the next 2, 3 years, and I like it a lot. Um, I think that a lot of people are kind of hating on their name because of a few things that's obviously down a lot, been kind of in the slums for a little bit, but listen, if the company fundamentals are looking good and the stock price is down or it's not matching up, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing because it gives you opportunity to buy the stock at cheaper prices from what it should really be worth. So this is one of my favorite investments, and it is my second biggest position behind AMD stock. Another thing I did want to point out about Celsius real quick is that they did have a little iffiness with the old Rockstar CEO trying to become the new CEO after guidance. He's like, oh, management is doing blah, blah, blah. Put me in charge. I'll take care of that. That definitely shouldn't happen. Currently, the management is doing an amazing job. And let me make it clear, if they do switch CEOs, I don't know if I'd be invested in the company. But as long as management stays strong, stays what they is, and keeps on doing what they're doing, stock is an amazing buy. And lastly, where do I see the market headed going into fall? So, first of all, I think that obviously this is all hypothetical. None of what I'm doing is based on what I think for where the market is headed into fall, if that makes any sense. I don't really base my investments on what I think is going to happen in the short term, because anything could happen in the short term that could screw up what you think is going to happen. But as long as you have a good understanding of what's happening in the long term, you can make a lot of money. But what I think is going to happen is that inflation will die down. I think that the Fed will probably cut rates, and obviously, if they cut rates, more money is going to go into the stock market and out of treasuries and this and that. But even if they don't cut rates, just the odds of there being rate cuts, like you look on like Polymarket or whatever other gambling app you want to use, but if the rate cut probability is going to be high, 60%, 70%, whatever it is, even if they don't end up cutting it and it just stays the same, it affects the market positively, as opposed to if the rate cut probability was 20% and it signals a more bearish bearishness for the market, where if it's higher, it signals more bullishness, if that makes any sense. I do also think that chip stocks may run heavily in a month or two and run through fall into January. If you look historically at data, that's kind of when you see these chip stocks really make their runs, and it also kind of lines up with what I think is happening right now. We've been in a bit of a drawdown, so I can see it timing up pretty nicely with this, and give it another month or two, and AMD and all these other stocks will get running. You also have to keep an account midterms is coming up. Currently a lot of drama. I mean, it can't really get a whole lot worse, with Iran. Obviously, it's gotten a bit better from where we were a few months ago, but it's still there in the back of people's minds. And with midterms coming up, I do think Trump will calm it down a little bit, and I think it will be better for the market. Also, if you look at the market currently, there's a lot of questions. It's shaky times, and people aren't sure if, oh, it's going to go up. I've seen some people comment on some of my videos on my shorts, like, oh, the stock market, the U.S. stock market would be lucky to be around 2 years from now. AI bubble is going to pop. And like, thing is if we were truly in a bubble, no one would be thinking that. They all would be flowing into stocks. And right now, I see a lot of questions, a lot of questioning going on in the market, and I think that just means that it's a good signal for what's going to be ahead. Bottom line, I think that the market runs higher going into and through fall. I think we going to continue to see momentum as fall progresses, and I believe this all-time high at our current portfolio. I don't know if I mentioned that we're at all-time highs. I think it's gonna end up going higher. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts down below, and also leave me a comment down below with a stock that you want me to look into. If you guys drop a like, leave a comment, I'll choose one of you guys to feature in the next video where I will look and do a deep dive into that stock. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.